G'day guys, how are you all going? Today I've got an iRacing video from a few months back, and boy, is it infuriating. It gets toxic. It was the SCAA Ford around Lime Rock Park, and well, I don't mean to spoil it, but I got disqualified and I got mad. But we start where all good races start, in qualifying, and I really didn't do enough practice laps because through my qualifying laps, I spun on the first lap through the chicane and on the second one into turn one, and that was both laps ruined. I had an okay-ish time with my first lap, but it wasn't enough to qualify me up the grid, so I was starting towards the back. But I got a really good launch here, which is one thing that I found with this car, that I was able to get a good launch even despite the fact that I was spinning a lot. Obviously at this point I thought to myself practice was needed, but I was in the race anyway, so it was too late to sort of practice more. But we're up into P4 out of turn 1 after that good launch. Things were looking pretty good from here. P3 not too far ahead, and behind me there was a little bit of a battle going on, so I thought, right, got to make the most of this, got to try and catch onto the back of P3 and sort of leave the cars behind me in the dust. But they were still very close to me. P3 made a mistake here, and I followed them in. I wasn't paying attention. There was a little bit of action going on behind me as well, but lost a lot of time through that, and the green car that was in P3 got a slow down here, and we're going to see them serve it back on the straight. But we're back towards the back of the grid, and we lost out a lot just through a simple mistake where I wasn't really paying attention, and this nearly cost me the race here as well. I was sort of pulling in behind. They pulled out, I pulled out at the same time, and nearly went back into the back of the car that was serving the penalty. As the red car there exits stage left, it was quite a chaotic first lap, and I don't want to say that I was doing poorly, but I wasn't doing great. I locked up into the first corner there as well. But we skipped towards the end of this lap, and I'm right in behind the number 4 car, right in the slipstream, and things are going, I want to say okay, like they could be going better at this point. But here we pull out to the right hand side. I think about the move, but I think better of it. I'm not that stable on the brakes, as you could see there, and there's always going to be better opportunities, but here, yeah, took a little bit of grass and straight into the fence. Luckily no damage. Like, I don't know how. I would have thought that would have been enough to total me, but I was careful with my rejoin. I saw that there were cars coming on the split and made sure that I sort of slotted in between them. I even gave this guy a fair amount of racing room before I started speeding up, just so that I was sort of, you know, treating others with respect. But this was not my finest race by far. I just hadn't practiced enough with these cars, and it was really showing. I'd sort of done a few laps. I'd been able to keep it on the track during those few practice laps that I'd done, but they weren't full push laps, and in hindsight I really should have practiced more at this point. But the thing is, people around me also weren't doing that great. As I got squeezed here a little bit, I thought, oh, maybe it wasn't worth sticking it there, but at the same time the space was open. But yeah, I got squeezed and it really hindered my run here. I felt like I would have gotten in front of him. But yeah, as we come back into turn 1, we're all the way at the back. I think there's like 2 cars behind us at this point. It's not looking good, is it? But despite the mistakes we've made, I'm still pushing on at this point, because I know that if I can just keep it on the track and do an alright pace, there's positions to be gained, there's I-rating to be gained, which is the important bit here. But we go side by side. This is the sort of move that you want to get done before the chicane. But as we'll see here, being on the inside of this chicane really saved me, because that car on the left rejoined so poorly and took out the car that was beside me. It was, I mean, wrong place, wrong time. But as we go through, we skip a lap here. I just spin it. Turn 1. Once again, just lack of practice. But I try to sort of take it respectful, wait until they pass me once again, no matter what, even if it costs me time. I'm not impeding other drivers, because that's just the wrong thing to do. Once again, we skip the rest of this lap. We're coming into the first corner. I hit my braking markers. I don't spin, I nearly spin, but I held it together. Once again, this is the thing, like, it happens a lot in iRacing, see it. People don't practice for their races. They can't hold the cars together. I see it a lot in things like Mazdas. People will jump in and it'll be like their first race of the week and they'll be off at the first corner. Or if you've ever watched a low split of Formula V, it's everywhere. Nobody sort of does the training to be able to run the race. But once I was in that position, I really should have done more practice. And this isn't the first time this happened with this car either, which is hilarious. But there's a little bit of position swapping going on in front of us. A little bit of back and forth. I'm sort of in a prime position to capitalize if these guys go too slow. But I'm keeping an eye out because if they crash, I want to be able to avoid it. As the car on the right goes fully inside, spins out on the grass on the outside. And we've gained a position there, just, you could see it happening from a mile away. There was never going to be a nice fast line through there, and they spun. So that was a position for us. And now we're tucked right into the toe of this white and green car, who takes an interesting line onto this back straight here. There were a few times where I noticed the car in front of me wasn't taking the most sort of direct line through the corners. So we were able to gain pretty easily, and I think he just pulled aside and let me pass just to save his safety rating or whatever, which I guess is fair enough. But once again, free position. I'll take the I rating. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. We come onto the front straight. I see a little sign of smoke. I'll worry if that's an engine blowing, but no, we're all good. No cars spun out in front of us either, so things are looking pretty good. Coming into turn 1. Will we miss our braking point? No, we won't. But there is a car in front of us who's spun and they rejoined the track very poorly, and I was not happy about this.
Dude, you gotta rejoin better than that.
As I said, gotta rejoin better than that. It was annoying me. Like, I'd rejoined safely, and that happens. I mean, it's outside of my control, but whatever. We move on. Next lap, come around. This guy's just going slow on the straight, and I get blocked.
Dude, what was that?
What happened is he spun there. I didn't get any contact for it. It was a netcode incident since I had missed him, but he blocked me on the racing line, and obviously got angry on the radio there. And this is really where it all starts to kick off. This is where the insanity takes a hold. And boy, does it take a hold. At this point, I'm sort of just trying to get my laps through without having incidents, because any more incidents and this just destroys my safety rating. And I spin, and the car behind me comes in for a hit. They miss the chicane and hit me, and they start getting a bit pissy on chat, and this is when I knew something was up. The first incident, okay, bad rejoin, said something, no problems, move on. The second incident, that's pretty poor effort, whatever, move on. Third incident, yeah, as this guy nearly exits stage right, saves himself, but he did have half spin there, and things just really deteriorated really fast. It was kind of amazing, if I'm being honest. This guy just sends himself a little bit at the chicane, misses it, cuts it, he's going to take the slowdown, or so I thought. He didn't slow down at that point. Kept going, and well, you'll see what happens here, and boy did it annoy me. He just started weaving on the straight. I don't think he was serving his slowdown, because he really wasn't slowing down enough. At this point, he's pretty much stopped on the apex, and I'm wary about going around him, because if I go around him, I'm at his hand. He can just run wide and hit me, say it was an accident. So I'm just kind of stuck behind him, taking it careful. Once again, I don't want to lose safety rating. At this point, he just acts as though the chicane wasn't there. It's like, it's kind of funny, but at the same time, it was happening to me. I was so annoyed during the race. Like, post-race, I was talking to my friends about it, like, angry as all hell. And some of them were actually spectating this race, and they clipped it. and sent it to iRacing, protested it. Dude got suspended. This was a 10-year-old account as well, like, obviously knows better, but you can see here, just blocking intentionally. It's just so annoying. I didn't think people actually like this on iRacing. All over me calling out a bad rejoin, like, yeah, we go through another lap of hell, slowly too, behind this guy, and it just, I don't know what to do. Like, if I try and go for a move, I'm going to be hit, and that's a reality I have to accept. And they keep trying to egg me on in chat as well, which was just making it worse. Like, when they were making mistakes, I couldn't go past them because, like, if I got hit, that's my race, you know? And now these guys, they're just, you know, intentionally trolling at this point, and it just gets very shit. Like, they're side by side, going slowly. There's not a lot of things that I can do here. I try to sort of get more aggressive and try and sort of pretend to make a move, but they're not really moving anywhere. They're more in formation, just blocking at this point. Once again, friends watching, protesting. It's almost laughable if it wasn't so infuriating, you know? And they're still getting on chat as well.
Really tense battle here, Jason. Some good racing.
And it's just, like, it's infuriating. There's no other way to put it. It's just infuriating at this point. However, at this point, I feel like I'm doing a good job to avoid it. I'm taking it slowly. I'm not getting in their way. Cuts the chicane again. It doesn't even exist for him. He's going to take the slowdown on the straight anyway. I think we all accept that at this point. And it's just driving me mad. We're not even making it to the straight before the slowdown anymore. These guys are just going hard for it.
Where are you going, Zeth?
And yeah, they're like trying to egg me on, trying to create me to go for it and trying to hit them, to get angry and retaliate, but I'm not. I'm trying my best not to, and I'm keeping it calm because I know my safety rating is important. At this point, they've hit me multiple times. If I get one more hit, I'm disqualified. Try to take it up the inside, nothing works. Old mate's on the grass here, and he just comes back across and bam. That's it, disqualified. And it's so infuriating, like, oh. And it's one of those things. They obviously know what they're doing is infuriating, otherwise they wouldn't be doing it. But like, it's just so annoying in the moment, because I'm not about to get suspended for retaliation. I'm just trying my best to race, you know? And these replays of the incidents from other perspectives, like, here's this one. It's directly against the iRacing codes, and I don't mean to sound like a actually nerd, but like, it's in the regulations. That shit is like so easily protestable. But anyway, thank you for watching me and joining me on this journey of absolute pain and anger. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if not, I hope you got angry with me. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Goodbye.